I had to get out of this mindset that like I had to like everything when it came to entrepreneurship. Like I'm like, oh, I'm not a reader. Well, sir, you better get to reading, or you're gonna go to school, and you guess what you gotta do? You gotta read too. You're gonna have to read some statements. You gotta learn.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's
Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it all? Do you know what it's like? Every day facing your fear, but believing that your blessing is near. Do you know what it's like? Growing up broken than most, but still being devoted the most. Do you know what it's like? Yeah, that's what the journey's about. Yeah. Let me show you.
What's going on, everybody? This is Justin Owens, back at the Run the Play show, where I help break down the top plays of success from top leaders, entrepreneurs, and personalities by sharing gems from their personal playbook. And we're in my playbook today. We're going to talk about how to get more from your reading. Listen, I would be transparent with y'all. When I first started as an entrepreneur, I did not like reading. I'm not going to lie. It's still not my favorite thing to do, but it's a necessity. I had to get out of this mindset that like I had to like everything when it came to entrepreneurship. Like I'm like, oh, I'm not a reader. Well, sir, you better get to reading, or you're gonna go to school, and you guess what you gotta do? You gotta read too. You're gonna have to read some statements. You gotta learn. You have to grow. Now, personally for me, my favorite form of reading is audiobooks. I know it's virtual reading, listening, but reading is a great way to expand your knowledge and gain new perspectives. But man, I ain't gonna lie, it can be very challenging to retain information and get the most from your reading. So I want to give you all a couple of tips to get more from your reading. And I'm gonna say this, right? One of the first things for me is to find a time, okay, that I'm most productive. All right, I'm just gonna say that, like, if you're a morning person, that might be the time that you start reading. If you're afternoon is when you're most productive. If in your nighttime you're most productive. If you're on the toilet, if you're a toilet reader, like some of us is toilet readers, like some of us, we actually are good at reading because we read our phones all day. So it's not necessarily true. You do like to read. It's just what you like to read, right? Well, find a place that you're most productive, right? And then put the content there. But number one is you want to set a goal. Like understand like why are you reading? And what are you trying to get from it? That helps me stay focused and motivated. Number two, I do this a lot. I preview the material. So before I get diving into a book, I don't just start at page one. I literally take a few minutes to preview the material. I look at the table of contents. I flip through stuff and I'm like, okay, what do I want to get out of this and get a sense of its structure? Because there's some books, I'm not gonna lie, I don't read the whole introduction. I don't read the whole preface. I don't need to know who they're thinking. I'm like, yo, why did I buy this book? And let me jump to the good part, right? That's, what's that thing? Now it's time for the good part. There's that little video that was going out, right? Let's just get to the good part. That's what I do with books. Yo, let me just get to the good part, right? Because I need to get to the things that I want to get out of the book. And also that makes me get excited about reading it. I'm like, okay, man, I want to see this, but okay, let me get the background on this so I come over here. Now it gets me excited about what is that's coming. Movies do it, right? TV shows do it. Social media does it. You need to get you a preview of the material so now you can start getting excited about what you're reading. Number three is focus on key points. As you read, try to focus on key points in the main ideas and take notes and highlight important sections to help you retain the information. So I underline and I highlight, and then I fold, I dog ear pages of things that I want to come back to, because I'm not just a person that just reads. I'm a person that I like to retain. And so I use repetition, right? And I go things over and over and over and over again so I can make sure I get the best out of it, all right? Number four is engage with the material. Don't just passively read, because sometimes you start reading and then, like, I don't know if anybody's read before, and you start daydreaming and you come back to the book and like your eyes have been moving, but you're not reading none of this stuff. So I go back. So as I'm reading it, I'm asking myself questions. I'm making connections. I'm jotting down notes. Sometimes I'll get training ideas from things that I'm reading. So I start to reflect on it. I meditate on that. And that also helps you better understand, but also retain the information. Okay. Another thing I do when I'm engaging with it, I might text somebody and be like, yo, I share something with it that I just learned from the book. I share something from the book that I got out of it that makes me even remember the information more. Number five is take breaks. It's important, man. When you're reading, it's very easy to just get caught up into like, just reading to read. And then guess what? Your brain starts shutting down. Your mind starts shutting down. Stuff starts going slower. So you have to take breaks for your mind to process the information. Sometimes I take a walk. I start working out. I clear my mind. And then I come back to the reading. Now, here's another thing I do. Sometimes I buy the book and I'll get the audio. I'll buy the book, read it, And then on my times when I'm trying to reflect and just like chill and kind of, I'll put the book in my ear, and now I can re-listen to some of the stuff that I just read. That's another thing that I do if it's available, right? Anytime I got a book like my Leadership Playbook 101 or my Menteeship book, I have not only the book, but guess what? We got audios and stuff that comes with it, because I want, depending on how you learn best, I want you to be able to get both, but also so that you can pick up on things that maybe you missed when you were just reading yourself. Next one is review and reflect. After you finish reading, take time to review the information and reflect on what you learned. That goes to that meditation. And then try to summarize it. I try to say, okay, what was the thing that I got out of this chapter, and what can it help me with in my business today? And then like I try to apply it as soon as possible. Like I'll text my team. I'll text people immediately on things we want to start implementing right away. Next point is practice recall, right? Try to recall the information you learned without looking at the notes. Like, okay, what was that quote? And I repeat it back to myself, and then I come back to it like, oh, that wasn't right. All right, what was it again? All right, what was that line? What was that bar? What was that thought process? And I go over and over and over again until I can retain it, right? That also starts helping you gauge how well did you understand what you read and identify on what you need to focus more attention on. So listen, these are just some tips that I truly believe can help you get more from your reading. They've worked for me. You know, audios, like I said before, they work for me, and it helps me to retain the information so I can continue to go back. Now, and one more other thing that I do, I literally a lot of times will create a notepad for books, and I have like bars and stuff like that from the book. So I almost make my own shortcut version of the books that I'm studying. And these are specifically books that I'm studying, because like now when I come back, I can look at my own cliff notes. I can look at my own bars. I get my own takeaways from these books, because guess what? You know, especially you start developing as a speaker, you start developing as a leader, you want to go back and reference notes, but it's like you may not always be able to get to your book. You may not be able to get to find the exact page that you doggy-eared. So you say, okay, let me put this in my notepad so now I can come and get the highlights. And so I do that on paper sometimes, but most of the time I put it on my notepad so I can now cross-reference that stuff really, really fast and get the information that I need. So hopefully these things help you to help me. A guy that's not the best reader in the world, but I knew that it was important. Why? Because I understand that, you know, sometimes we think that, you know, schooling isn't necessary, but education is still important. And so that's a play that y'all can use. Go run it. What's going on? Listen, make sure you guys go to RunThePlayStore.com. Get your official Run the Play gear. We talk about shirts, socks, jackets for everybody that's Run the Play all across the world.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's
Do you
go.
know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it all? Do you know what it's like? Every day facing your fear, but believing that your blessing is near. Do you know what it's like? Growing up broken than most, but still be